Hello, Aries. Welcome to your weekly forecast for May 16th through the 22nd. This is going to be for Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising. You might stumble upon this video a week from now, a year from now. It doesn't matter. You're going to find it whenever you're meant to hear the messages that are in it. Keep in mind, it is a general reading for the collective. Not every single message is going to resonate, and that's okay. Take what does, leave what doesn't, and as always, you may need a private reading. But we're going to connect and see what's coming up for our lovely Aries friends. Alrighty, my dears, let's get right on into it. We're going to move you just a little bit closer here. And the first card coming up for the Aries collective is you. It's the Queen of Wands in your lovely fiery energy. Now, the Queen of Wands, the characteristics or personality traits of the Queen of Wands, she is the life of the party. She is hot. She is attractive. She is funny. She's ambitious, independent, driven, comes up with creative solutions to problems. Very like entrepreneur kind of energy to her. And so these may be characteristics that a lot of you are really embracing or stepping into, or you may be calling this kind of energy into your life. The thing about the Queen of Wands is one thing I've seen over the years reading for people, she comes up a lot of the time when you're starting to wake up and realize how much you're bringing to the table and how much people benefit from having you around. So you may start to realize, hey, all of these companies I've worked for or all of these bosses I've had, I've made them a ton of money. I have brought in so much money for them. Or, the people in your personal life, you start realizing how much they benefit from having you around. But you also start to realize that the exchange or the trade isn't fair, that you're giving way more and you're getting teeny little crumbs in return. And so you may try to speak up, you may try to negotiate something better, but you may find that people just want you to keep laying those golden eggs and be quiet, right? Like they're not meeting you halfway. They're not giving you more. They're just kind of maybe stroking your ego or like flattering you, but they're not giving any kind of real change. So there may be anger that comes up, frustration. You may feel really fed up. You may feel very tired of it. But the wonderful thing about this Queen of Wands anger is that you're using it to propel you forward. It's motivation. And there's this really healthy sense of entitlement, knowing your worth, being fed up, that these energies coming together are pushing you to aim higher. And so you're achieving or you're getting what you're after very quickly in a very short period of time. So Aries, you guys are coming into this upgrade energy. Some of you may be deciding that you want to take your skills, your gifts, and your talents and put them to work for yourself. And instead of using your gifts and talents to line somebody else's pockets, you're like, I'm going to line my own pockets with my skills and gifts and abilities. So some of you may be coming into entrepreneurship. Um, some of you may be taking a certain skill set and offering consultations, like doing consulting or training with what you know, or teaching in some way. I don't know why. I just heard that song, the milkshake song, which I guess by this time is considered an old song. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. I'll teach you, but I have to charge. So Aries, you just might be in that energy. You just might be in that energy here with this Queen of Wands here. But there's this sense or this feeling here of wanting more, deserving more, knowing your worth, and going for it. Uh, your next card here is the Ace of Swords, and the Ace of Swords is victory. It's also a card that comes up for me in my readings when there's clearing happening in the crown chakra and you're starting to clear away negative thought patterns, limited thinking, low self-esteem. You're starting to see solutions where once you only saw problems. You're finding an efficient or easier way of doing things. So life is becoming less complicated. And some of you are breaking out of really dramatic energy or really complicated energy. Maybe life up until now, Aries, for a lot of you has felt very much like an uphill climb or uphill struggle. Like nothing is simple. Everything snowballs into something else. Everything becomes a big fiasco. But you're breaking out of that energy. You're breaking out of that chaotic energy, right? And some of us, we were born into it, right? We might come from very chaotic families where nothing is simple, right? You might all decide to get together and try to have a family dinner, and somebody says, "Hey, Aries, set the table." And you're like, "Okay, sure, fine." And in the time it takes you to go wash your hands to set the table, somebody else got all frustrated and all huffy and puffy, and they're like, "Well, fine, then I'll do it." And you come back and you're like, "Well, I was about to set the table." "Well, it's fine, I'll do it. You're taking too long." And then somebody else says, "Well, that's not the wrong plates. That's not the right plates, or that's not the right cups." And it becomes like a big old disagreement over a simple thing like setting the table, right? Some of you come from an environment where everything just has to be an issue or an argument, or there's confusion, or why are we using these plates and you should be using those plates, and these are the forks that we use when we make this meal. And it's like, why does it have to be so complicated? And so some of you just inherited that or absorbed that from birth, but you're breaking out of it, right? You're finding an easier way of doing things. You're finding a more efficient way of doing things. I also feel here with this Ace of Swords energy, Aries, that some of you are coming into this energy where you are feeling all of a sudden like you didn't know you had this gift, but you're tapping into, like you're realizing you just have this very smooth, like golden tongue. You have this beautiful way of speaking. You're really, really communicating very clearly, very effectively. And that's not to say that you couldn't communicate effectively before, but I just feel like a lot of you are becoming much more effective communicators, much more eloquent communicators, and some of you may be surprising yourself with how good you are at it. You're like, I didn't realize I had this talent, or I didn't realize that I was so eloquent, right? But I feel like a lot of you are noticing that your communication skills are stellar. They're stellar, and you're very confident in the way that you're speaking, the way that you're directing people, or negotiating, or teaching things, or taking the lead. You're feeling very proud of yourself in the way that you're communicating. I feel like Aries is a very effective communicator right now. The next card coming up for you all is the Two of Wands. Speaking of communication, wow, we have the Two of Wands. So some of you may be looking into entrepreneurship, as I said, with this Queen of Wands. And the Two of Wands can sometimes be partnerships. So some of you might be kind of weighing that option. Are you going to do something by yourself? Are you going to be taking on a partner? Are you going to do things this way or that way? Two of Wands comes up when we're weighing the options. Like, what are the choices? What are the options? What are the pros? What are the cons? And you're weighing these options. And I've said this before in previous readings. I have seen the Two of Wands come up a lot in situations where somebody might be making you an offer. Maybe they're wanting to offer you a job, or they're wanting to collaborate with you, or it's a friend who's like offering you a favor of some kind. But this is the thing that I see happen a lot with the Two of Wands. You are going to be very, very, very beneficial to this person in this situation, but you have no clue. You do not understand what a blessing and what an asset you're going to be to this person in this situation. And the person that you're dealing with knows, they know that you have no idea what a blessing you're going to be and how beneficial you're going to be for them. And so they kind of maybe like they'll lowball you. They'll give you a low offer because they know that you don't realize how much worth you have in the situation. Um, or they may downplay a situation and expect to get a lot more out of you. So there's a couple of ways that we can avoid this from happening. If you are negotiating something in terms of doing business with somebody or working with somebody, it's a really good idea for you, Aries, to educate yourself. What is the market value for what you're bringing to the table? What are other people charging? That way you can negotiate confidently, knowing, hey, I'm worth at least this much, right? And you can negotiate with this air of confidence and getting what you're worth. Now, for some of you, it could be something else like, oh, hey, Aries, you know, I know you were wanting to go back to school, or I know you were wanting to start your business. I moved into a great place. I have extra room in my house. Why don't you just take some time off and come and stay with me? And you can go to school, or you can start your business, and you don't even have to worry about paying rent. You'll just help me out around the house. You'll help me out around the house. You'll help me with the kids here and there. And you may say, great, wow, that sounds awesome. But the expectation versus the reality is not matching up here. Because in your mind, you're thinking you're going to vacuum maybe, once in a while. You're going to prepare meals a few times a week. But then you get out there and they're like not coming home. Like night after night. Oh, I'm working late, then I'm gonna go out with friends. Oh, you know what? It's really late. I'm not gonna come home. Can you please wake up the kids and get them ready for school in the morning? Make sure that they get breakfast. Make sure that they do their homework, and take a bath before bed. And now all of a sudden you're like on call, constantly on call. Or they're like, oh, there's a leak in the roof. Can you please fix it? Can you please fix it? Like the ceiling is leaking or something. And you're like, wait a minute, I wasn't thinking I'm gonna help out around the house and go on the roof and patch holes in the roof. Like, you may be very surprised because you were thinking one thing and you came into the situation and it's something else. So you could avoid that by asking very specific questions. Oh, okay, well, what kinds of things would I be helping with around the house? How often would I be helping with the kids? What kind of things would you have me doing with the kids? Right? Or, how often would you need my help? And, just ask really specific questions. Like, what does that look like? What am I doing specifically? Because otherwise we're not on the same page, and you go into the situation and then you're regretting it because you didn't know it was going to be like that. At least this way, if they say something you don't like, you can let them know right off the bat, you know what, I'm not comfortable being there with the kids by myself all night, right? Or I'm not comfortable with this, or I'm not comfortable with that. You can lay down what the boundaries are, right? I don't mind, preparing a few meals during the week, but I'm not going to do repair services. I'm not going to take the responsibility, fixing things in case something goes wrong, or whatever your boundary is, you can set that. And then you could avoid that frustration and that chaos and that confusion, walking into a situation feeling like, whoa, this isn't what I was expecting. So being very clear, and that goes in with the communication. Communicating negotiations, communicating boundaries, communicating your agreements, right? So be sure to ask questions, to do your research, to do your homework, and then you could avoid unpleasant surprises. Next card coming up here for Aries is victory. Look at all this fire, Aries. You guys are definitely in your element of fire, right? You're in your element this week. You're in your power. Things are moving forward. Things are happening quickly for you. Six of Wands is victory. It's beating out the competition. It's being seen. It's being recognized. The Six of Wands has a strong sense or element of victory to it. And this could even come up when a truth is being revealed or being vindicated or validated in some way. I feel some of you are finally walking away from a situation. If not this week, there could be like movement this week where you're going to be able to do it very soon in the next couple of weeks. And I feel like the Six of Wands is coming up in the way that once you are finally leaving the situation, you're feeling vindicated or validated in that you may have somebody like begging you not to leave or begging you not to go, right? Maybe you're leaving a job and they're like, oh, please, please, Aries, don't go. And they're trying to sweeten the pot or get you to stay, and that can feel very vindicating or very validating. Or maybe you're leaving an unpleasant living situation and they're trying to convince you to stay. And I feel for some of you, this is a person or situation where they would complain a lot. They would complain a lot or make you feel like you're not doing enough. And so it's kind of like refreshing for you to be like, oh, okay, so I'm not so bad. See, like now you don't want to lose me. But I do feel like a lot of you are breaking away from situations that are not serving you, and you're putting your time and your energy into endeavors that are going to be worth your while, right? And give you a sense of independence. Something about the Queen of Wands also makes me feel like a lot of you are going to be establishing some kind of income that is specifically allowing you to travel. I'm just getting a sense of movement with this Queen of Wands. And so I feel some of you are setting things up in a way where you're going to be able to go wherever you want, do whatever you want to do. A sense of freedom, like not being tied down to a specific place. You may want to check out your moon sign and rising sign videos. Some weeks your moon sign or rising sign might resonate more than your sun sign. Love readings for May are linked in the description of the video. You may need a private reading, which I'm more than happy to do for you. If you go to calendly.com/amethystangelite, you can schedule a private reading with me there. And don't forget to check out the daily messages as well. Every single day, I've been posting a daily message on this channel, which has been helpful for a lot of people. So be sure to tune in and check that out too. I thank you all for watching, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing. I hope you all have a fabulous week ahead. Take care and be well, my dears.